Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to today's video. I live with Cafe. I'm Chris. Let's take a look. I think we've talked last time. Must have been on Wednesday last week. So on Friday, we've had a pretty large sell-off. And if you are listening to this video, you probably and hopefully, survived the big, liquidation market crash, whatever you want to call it, that happened in Friday in the crypto markets and mostly in the altcoins. If you've managed to kind of get through that stuff unscathed, that means that hopefully you're doing something right and you don't have a lot of leverage and you're able to have some kind of a protection in place from situations like this. They do come once in a while. We haven't had something like this in crypto, in a little bit. And every once in a while, I guess the market, wants to try to keep people honest in here and see who's swimming naked. But I understand it was a tough day for a lot of people. We did come back and recovered quite a bit. I think it was a one-time event, but enough to do a lot of damage. So hopefully, everyone's okay, and we're probably going to head over to new all-time highs now. I'm going to touch a little bit on the equities here, and then we will go over and take a look at cryptos and see where we are in terms of the wave counts. But nonetheless, we did have quite a big shock in the equity markets as well. It's kind of started slowly on Friday. We were talking, I think, in one of my videos, maybe I think it was on Tuesday, about some cracks in the ice that kind of prompted me to go defensive. Then on Wednesday, I kind of moved back to being a bit more aggressive, with a little bit of an uneasiness there. But on Friday morning, and I put on Twitter, I started to kind of see that we're trying to crack, and I raised as much cash as I could, as fast as I could, before the larger damage took place in there. So I was a bit lucky, but it's still I got nipped in a couple of trades. Easy stuff. I was able to open up a couple of shorts in some very very weak stocks like Black and Decker, and I've done like Lulu and MSTR and a couple of those things. But anyway, that's the point is that it was a pretty tough day. I was supposed to go over to Iowa and leave at 11, and between 8 and 11 I was really active. So it was a lot. But anyhow, we're back here, and we recovered a lot of this move. And I mean, if you look at this candle, yes, it closed at a low, but now we're gapping up and we're having an inside candle. I think it's somewhat pretty powerful, and it just tells us that this was a one-day event, and the market it's going to look past this. At least that's my feeling right now. I wanted to get a bit more aggressive today. I really couldn't. I've done a little bit of purchase. I bought some Oracle. I sold some credit spreads in Oracle, and I think I have Credo, and that's about it. I mean, I didn't, and then I have my other positions, on the long side and some stocks, but not. I didn't want to press the acceleration just yet. I need to see a bit more confirmation from this market, but I'm not as worried as I was, last week, with this move to new highs and the way it was kind of acting. So if, take that for what it's worth. Look, we've basically retested the 50-day moving average, which was one of the things that we kind of talked as being a pretty good barrier on the way to the downside, and a place that if we get below, then we got to play a lot of defense. And so far we haven't. That's not to say that we couldn't do that later. So far, at least with today's response, that's pretty positive. IWM, even a stronger response here, and I know that when the market breaks in such a way, and it wants us to believe that it wants to go lower, and it doesn't, and instead it moves the other way, that's a powerful signal that it could actually move very fast into the other direction, which means to the upside. So I'm going to keep a close eye on that, and if we're threatening to break, let's say on the IWM above 248, 247, 248, I think that's going to be a good signal to move in higher and get a bit more aggressive. So I'm encouraged by kind of what happened today. A lot of stocks recovered, and we did have even 52-week highs. So that's a positive. That means that the market is quite resilient here. And it was just a flush of leverage, and we'll see. Bitcoin, responded pretty well off this 200-day moving average. And I think if we're looking at the weekly time frames, we also are sitting right above the 50 RSI, which in uptrends looks pretty good, and it's a place where you want to pay attention. So let me just kind of go back here and look at Bitcoin on this chart really quickly. Yeah, and this is the daily of the 200-day moving average, and I want to do like a weekly. I mean, it looks pretty nice. I even have this page opened up in Motivwave, what every once in a while, I kind of watch the 3 month, the 1 month, the 1 week, and the 1 day, just to kind of show me and just kind of keep me real on the trend. And I mean, if you look at the 3 month of the quarterly chart, I mean, there's nothing wrong here. Even if you look at the 1 month chart, I mean, what is this? Almost nothing, and you basically recovered a lot of that move. Even if you look at the weekly, all right, if we were to get a proper bearish engulfing, you wanted that to continue lower right away, and it didn't. We're basically coming back. Now, we're retreating about not maybe halfway, maybe not even halfway just yet of this entire rally, of this entire decline. So we're going to watch very closely the 61.8. But what is encouraging here is the fact that, and I'm jumping here straight into the wave count. What's encouraging is the fact that we have flushed below 107 to 70, and then we quickly recovered. And you can now think of this as being a C wave decline with the 3 wave move to the top in some type or an expanded flat formation, if you will. And the fact that we've rallied so much of these lows and being up into these levels gives me quite a bit of confidence that probably this move is done, and it wants to move much higher. Now, there is one thing. There is one thing with what I think that it's going to happen, and what I would like it to happen. It's another thing what it will happen. We don't know. This is what I do know, that in situations like this where we break below and then we recover, I want to try the market. And the way I want to try it is by starting to make small purchases of Bitcoin here and see how the market reacts, and see the feedback that it gives me. If it starts to act weak and it turns back down, and we're getting quite a bit of selling pressure, and we're starting to break below 110, then I know that I'm wrong, and then that's not the right approach, and we're getting up. That's a small position, like almost like a pro position, like a test position here. If we continue to go, then that's even better, right? That's telling me, wow, okay, well, my read that this was a quick flush and we're ready to, that read is correct, and the market rewards me by showing me a profit into my trade and into my little position. So then as it continues to grow and move above 118, then I want to add to those positions, because I was shown that I am correct. So as that continues to happen, then my confidence grows, and I continue to follow that as long as it continues to go higher, and eventually, and hopefully we'll see, we break above this B wave high and we continue to go higher, or even this high from whenever this was back in August. So quite encouraged in here. I'm not saying this wave count is correct. You're only going to find this out if we're breaking below the low of this candle or if we're breaking above the high of this candle back in here. So, you know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, yes, this is a expanded flat and it's going to work out, because sometimes they don't. It does look pretty good. I mean, yes, it was quick and fast, and sometimes, wave C's are notorious for that. And that's my thoughts on Bitcoin. Now, on XRP, this looks very interesting too, because it actually has, I think, a much nicer look here in terms of kind of its corrective structure. This was very smelly here. We've had it as a 1-2, 1-2, and just never went. Then it's starting to fall apart, and we've talked about the XRP on this daily time frames in here, and that we wanted it to kind of get back above these highs. And we never really got him back above those, and that would have been a sign that, hey, maybe it's time to increase. And the first sign was back here above this 50-day moving average. That give you a very good risk reward, but he never really got the confirmation that it was going to move much higher above this level. Then he broke lower, right? So this saved a lot of aggravation because you didn't have to participate in this decline. So now we're coming back pretty nicely, and I kind of like what I'm seeing here in the structure now. You do have a W, you have what seems to be a nice three-wave move up in a wave X, a bit of a weird but correct leading diagonal in here in a wave A, up in B, and then down in a quick flush in a wave C, and now we're coming back. But just like I showed you in Bitcoin, in here I'm a bit more cautious. So one could probably probe the same way that I've said in Bitcoin with a very small start position in here to see if it goes. I'm going to personally wait until it breaks 310, and then I'm going to look at just because Ripple, it's a bit crazier and it's a bit more volatile. And since we're in the crypto space, we did talk, and I put this on Twitter too about Solana, and I said, okay, well, if this is an ABC, which seemed to be by the way the structure looks and the equality between the waves and just the beauty of the pattern, I said, if we break above 205, that's the first signal that I'm looking for. And we've gotten that move. We're trading 208. So this is, again, just like in Bitcoin, a place where the market gets starts to be probed and tested, and see how it reacts. Now, remember, we're talking about very volatile markets here, and these coins and what have you. I mean, they can test the traders, and you can do something like this all the way back here pretty fast, and that's the intent of a move like that, is to scare traders, scare the new buyers, and maybe give confidence to the sellers that you're going to break back below the wave C, but it never does it, and instead it just moves back higher. So that's going to be a test that one has to pass or to survive it in order to be able to enjoy and move back to the upside. So be prepared for something like that. I'm not sure that it's going to happen, but that's what I'm saying. A small probe position, could be the way to go in here. And if you have other strategy, that's fine too. But that's kind of the way I'm thinking about this when I'm seeing a failed move and a lack of a continuation. Because if it's a 1-2, 1-2, you really wanted this wave 2 not to be too deep. Usually when the market is really in a rush to move lower in a 1-2, 1-2 position, it doesn't do a whole lot. It just goes 2 and then it flashes down. This is quite a bit of a rally there, quite impressive, and I don't think we're in a 1-2, 1-2 situation, but this is just my 2 cents. So that's kind of these are my thoughts for right now in crypto. I'm trying to see if I've missed covering anything else in here. Let's take a look on the weekly on the XRP. Oh, we haven't really talked about Ethereum. Ethereum, it didn't do that much of a damage. I mean, it came to 35.50, but when you look at the weekly time frames, it's just a nice corrective pattern. And I tell you something, if you break above 4,700 here in Ethereum, I think That's a decent signal that this could continue. I mean, this could still be a 1, 2, 3. This is a wave 4 and a wave 5, and then a little correction, and then goes again. So that's and if I go back to the wave count, which got messed up a little bit, we can probably look at this and see. The original idea here was that this wave 4 was going to terminate back here, and this was a move. But look what it failed, which is what usually happens. That's why these levels, these highs here are so important. Sometimes the market sticks their head above it just a little bit, just enough to kind of draw you in, and then it reverses. But if this is an ABC and this is a corrective move, this must have been an X wave. Now, many of you are going to say, well, if that's an X, that means that this is an AB and it's got to do another C before we correct. True, unless the ABC it's already in the structure. And by the way this flush happened, something tells me that that could be the case. Now, you can always get a flat in here already, and I'll show you how. Instead of, this is what I mean. So you go A, this is the origin, right? So you go in a wave A in here, B, and then down in C. And what is this B wave? Well, that's a flat correction in its own. So that decomposes in an A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then up in C. This B wave should be a 3-wave move. This should be a 5-wave move. So this wave I'm okay with. Maybe it ends over there, some kind of a diagonal in here. So 3, 3, 5, and this is kind of how you can get away from having a WXY to actually having an A, flat in B, down in C, and then the corrective move is done, and then you move higher. So stay open, with the Elliott wave, and just, don't never be convinced that the wave count that you're presenting is the correct one, or that that just because a move looks impulsive, it is impulsive, and it does need to have another move lower or another move higher for that matter. I've learned this across my years of experience in Elliott wave, that I'm not trusting any single move out there, and because I don't know, unless you're probably, maybe you're so good at it that everything works out fine, and every count that you're counting is good. I doubt that, because I've seen it over and over again that Elliott wave can really get tricky. So anyhow, these are my thoughts. Do with this information what you want. It's free. It's on YouTube. Just be careful. Leverage. It's the number one killer in the markets, and it happened to me many times, and I'm done with that forever. So hopefully forever, right? Those little devils are always moving, and that it's one thing as traders that we gotta fight, that need to be right, that greed that sometimes pops in, and that super confidence that you build when you win a few trades and you want to go bigger, and then the market catches you at the wrong time, and it can have painful lessons. So anyhow, enough out of that. Thanks for watching. I appreciate everybody. Please leave a like or something, or leave a comment. See me on Discord and on Twitter, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.